In every heartbeat there's a moment of quiet, a pause between beats that holds the secret to calm. In the chaos that surrounds us, this silence isn't just a physiological necessity, it's a metaphor for life, a stoic reminder that between every challenge there's a moment to breathe, reflect, and choose our response wisely. Today we're diving deep into the world of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches the art of turning obstacles into opportunities. This isn't just about ancient texts and philosophical ideals. It's about real life, your life, and how you can harness centuries-old wisdom to navigate the modern world with grace and resilience. Join me as we explore how to transform our lives by changing nothing but ourselves, applying Stoic principles to overcome common yet destructive habits that steal our peace and potential. Whether you're struggling with overthinking, battling self-doubt, or caught in the web of procrastination, there's a Stoic solution that can lead you to a place of strength and serenity. Get ready to unlock the power of your own mind and embark on a transformative journey that begins within. Let's find out how to live better, not by doing more, but by resisting less, by understanding more, and by embracing the wisdom of Stoicism to make every moment count. If you appreciate the insights and stories we're sharing here, a simple free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. Also, stick with us throughout. Don't skip any part of the video to ensure you capture every piece of wisdom that could change the way you see and interact with your world. Let's get started. Overthinking is like getting caught in a mental storm, isn't it? It's that habit where your mind races from one thought to another, creating a whirlwind of unnecessary worry and speculation. You've probably noticed how it can pull you out of the present and drown you in a sea of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. It's not just tiring, it's downright disruptive. But here's where Stoicism swings open the door to a more tranquil mind. Stoicism teaches us a valuable lesson about focusing our energy only on what we can control. Think about it. Most of what we overthink about are things beyond our reach, the future, the past, and all the unpredictable parts of life. Epictetus once pointed out, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This simple yet profound observation suggests that the fears we fabricate in our minds are often much worse than the actual outcomes. So, how do we apply this to stop overthinking? Start by recognizing when you're making mountains out of molehills. When you catch yourself spiraling, pause and ask yourself, is this something I can control? Can I change the outcome by worrying about it? More often than not, the answer is no, and that's a cue to let go and redirect your thoughts to what you can influence, your actions here and now. Another Stoic strategy is the practice of mindfulness, staying fully present in the moment. This can be as simple as focusing on your breathing, the details of your surroundings, or the task at hand. By anchoring yourself in the present, you starve the overthinking beast of its power because you're no longer feeding it with past regrets or future anxieties. Remember, it's about training your mind to embrace the calm, the pause, the silence between the heartbeats. Overthinking doesn't have to be the soundtrack of your life. Let Stoicism guide you towards a more peaceful mental state where you control your thoughts, not the other way around. Through practice and patience, you'll find that you can quiet the noise and enjoy the clarity and peace that comes from a Stoic mindset. Trying to please everyone is like being a chameleon, constantly changing colors to match the environment. It sounds adaptable and considerate, but it's actually a trap. When you constantly shift your actions and reactions to fit others' expectations, you might find yourself losing touch with who you really are. You see, the habit of people-pleasing often stems from a fear of rejection or conflict, but it doesn't really lead to genuine relationships or personal satisfaction. In fact, it can do just the opposite, breeding resentment and exhaustion. This is where Stoicism offers a grounding perspective. Stoics advocate for living a life of personal integrity and virtue, which is the opposite of bending yourself to fit the whims of others. Marcus Aurelius once advised, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." If you think about that, it's quite profound. We put others' opinions above our own inner guidance, sacrificing our own happiness in the process. So how do you step out of the people-pleasing cycle? Begin by understanding and defining your core values. What truly matters to you? What principles do you want to live by? When you're clear about these, it becomes easier to make decisions that align with your true self, not just decisions that appease others. Start practicing saying no. It sounds simple, but it can be incredibly challenging if you're a habitual people-pleaser. Remember, every time you say yes to something that doesn't feel right, you're actually saying no to your own values. By respecting your own limits, you not only preserve your energy, but also build self-respect. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's within our control, our actions and reactions, and to detach from the things we can't control, like others' feelings and reactions. This doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. Rather, it's about approaching interactions with kindness and honesty, without the hidden agenda of seeking approval. Embrace the freedom that comes from being authentic. When you stop trying to please everyone, you might find that not everyone likes you, and that's perfectly okay. Those who appreciate the real you are the relationships worth nurturing. And remember, as a Stoic, your worth comes from your ability to live true to your virtues, not from the fleeting approval of others. This shift in perspective can liberate you from the heavy chains of people-pleasing and lead you towards a life of genuine contentment and stronger, more meaningful connections. Living in the past can be a comfort and a curse, right? It's comforting because it's familiar, but it's a curse because it keeps us from fully experiencing the present and preparing for the future. We all have those moments, replaying old memories, dwelling on what we could have done differently, or even idolizing the good old days. However, fixating on the past can be as limiting as looking through a rear-view mirror while trying to drive forward. It doesn't just slow us down, it can actually prevent us from moving at all. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this habit. Stoics emphasize the importance of living in the present, the only place where we can truly make changes and have a real impact. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Be good for something while you live, and it is in your power." This is a vivid reminder that the past is gone, and the only moment we truly own is now. So how can we shift our focus from the past to the present? First, recognize when you're slipping into those old, familiar thought patterns. When you catch yourself doing this, pause and ask, how is this serving me? More often than not, you'll find that it isn't serving you at all. It's just a habit, a comfortable old loop that's playing in your mind without your permission. One effective Stoic practice to counter this is called premeditation of the future rather than the past. This involves visualizing future challenges and how you might handle them, which helps prepare you mentally for what's to come rather than getting stuck in what's already happened. This technique shifts your focus forward and can be incredibly empowering. Another key Stoic practice is mindfulness, paying deep attention to the present moment, whether it's through meditation, focusing on your breath, or simply observing the world around you without judgment. Mindfulness roots you in the now. It's a powerful practice that, over time, can help diminish the hold that past memories have on you. Finally, use the lessons from the past as stepping stones, not as reasons to stop moving forward. Every experience, good or bad, has something to teach us. By viewing the past as a resource for learning rather than a place to live in, you can transform those old memories into wisdom that fuels your present actions. Constant worrying is like having an alarm that doesn't turn off, always alerting you, often unnecessarily, and wearing you down in the process. It's easy to get caught in the loop of worrying about what tomorrow may bring or what yesterday might have cost you, right? This kind of ongoing stress can feel like carrying a backpack that's always getting heavier. But here's the thing. While it's natural to worry at times, becoming captive to these thoughts steals joy from the present and effectiveness from our actions. Stoicism teaches us a critical lesson about worry. Much of it comes from focusing on what's beyond our control. The The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasized the dichotomy of control, dividing the world into things we can control and things we can't. He famously said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." This perspective can be incredibly freeing. When you start sorting your worries into these two buckets, you realize that much of what consumes your mind doesn't actually warrant the mental energy you're giving it. So how do you put this into practice? Start by identifying your worries as they arise. Then ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, then practice the art of letting go. This might involve mental exercises like visualizing yourself physically releasing these concerns, or it might involve affirmations that remind you to focus only on what's within your sphere of influence. Now, for the worries you can control, the approach is different. Here, Stoicism doesn't teach passivity, but rather proactive engagement. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Confine yourself to the present." This means taking actionable steps to address your concerns. Break down your worries into manageable tasks and set about tackling them one by one. This not only reduces anxiety, but also fosters a sense of accomplishment and control. Another Stoic practice that's incredibly useful is premeditation of future adversities, also known as premeditatio malorum. This exercise involves visualizing potential challenges or difficulties and mentally preparing for how to handle them. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Deliberately thinking about negatives. But by doing this, you reduce the shock value of adversities when they occur, and you equip yourself with a calm mindset to manage them effectively. Living with constant worry doesn't have to be your norm. By applying Stoic principles, you can cultivate a life where concerns are managed wisely, focusing on what you can change, preparing for possible challenges, and releasing what's out of your hands. This doesn't just alleviate worry, it enhances your overall quality of life, allowing you to engage more fully with the present, where real happiness is found. Self-doubt can be a relentless critic inside your head, right? It's like having an internal voice that constantly questions your abilities, decisions, and worth. This nagging doubt can hold you back from opportunities, diminish your confidence, and make you feel like you're never quite good enough. We've all been there, wrestling with that voice, especially when facing new challenges or stepping out of our comfort zones. But here's the good news. Stoicism provides a robust framework for silencing this inner critic and building a more resilient self-concept. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own actions and judgments rather than external validations. Epictetus put it bluntly, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This simple yet profound statement shifts the focus from external circumstances and what others might think of us to our own responses and beliefs about ourselves. So, how do you start battling self-doubt with Stoic wisdom? Begin by observing your thoughts. Really listen to that internal dialogue. Is it harsh? Unfair? Would you talk to a friend the way you talk to yourself? Often the answer is no. This is your cue to start challenging and changing those self-doubting thoughts. Whenever you notice self-doubt creeping in, pause and reflect on these Stoic questions. Is this thought within my control? Is it based on fact, or just my perception? What would I say to someone else feeling this way? Another powerful Stoic practice is to focus on what you can control, your virtues and actions. Stoics believe that true self-worth comes from living according to your principles and acting with virtue, not from external achievements or accolades. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about this, urging us to cultivate inner virtue and strength. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By concentrating on developing qualities like courage, honesty, and perseverance, you reinforce your self-esteem and reduce reliance on external validation. Stoicism encourages us to embrace challenges as opportunities to grow and prove our resilience. Instead of shying away from situations that fuel self-doubt, face them as chances to practice your Stoic principles. Each challenge you overcome is a step towards greater confidence and self-reliance. Finally, practice gratitude for your abilities and achievements, no matter how small. Regularly reflecting on what you have accomplished and the qualities you possess can significantly counterbalance feelings of inadequacy. It's about shifting the narrative from what you think you can't do to celebrating what you can and have done. Remember, overcoming self-doubt isn't about transforming into someone new. It's about recognizing and reinforcing the strength that's already within you. Negative self-talk is like having an unwelcome guest in your mind, one that's constantly critiquing and undermining every action you take. It's so easy to fall into this trap where your inner dialogue becomes a barrage of "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed." This relentless self-criticism can not only erode your self-esteem, but also color your entire experience of life, making challenges seem insurmountable and successes unattainable. Stoicism, however, offers a powerful remedy to combat this pervasive negativity. The Stoics teach us that our thoughts shape our reality, and by changing our thoughts, we can change our lives. Epictetus famously said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." This means that the external world isn't what disturbs us, rather it's our thoughts about it. So if we can learn to control and reframe our thoughts, we can maintain our tranquility and improve our well-being. So how do we start changing this pattern of negative self-talk? First, it's crucial to become aware of it. Start listening to your thoughts. Try to catch yourself when you're being self-critical and pause. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? How would I talk to a friend who had this thought? Often, you'll find that you're much harsher with yourself than you would ever be with others. Once you've identified negative self-talk, challenge it. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or thoughts, but rather about confronting and rationalizing them. If you're thinking, "I always mess up," reflect on times you've succeeded or handled situations well. This isn't just about positive thinking, but about accurate thinking, aligning your thoughts more closely with reality. Another Stoic strategy is the practice of reframing your thoughts to focus on what you can control. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at this," you might reframe it to, "I'm still learning how to do this." This shift in perspective emphasizes growth and potential rather than fixed inadequacy. Additionally, Stoicism encourages us to focus on action over rumination. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations about the importance of action, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." By focusing on what actions you can take rather than dwelling on negative thoughts, you turn obstacles into opportunities for improvement. Cultivate self-compassion. Remember that being human involves imperfections and making mistakes. Allow yourself the kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Self-compassion is not only a relief, it's a resource. It can fuel resilience and a more positive approach to life's challenges. Through these Stoic practices, we can start to silence the critic within and replace it with a more supportive, rational, and compassionate inner voice. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but with patience and practice, you can transform your inner dialogue and, by extension, your experience of the world. Let's take these lessons from Stoicism and apply them every day, turning our inner narrative from one of self-doubt and criticism to one of encouragement and strength. Procrastination, the art of putting off until tomorrow what you can do today, right? It's a common habit that all of us fall into at one point or another. It's so easy to tell ourselves, "I'll start on this later," or "I'm not quite ready yet." But deep down, we know that delaying tasks doesn't make them any easier. In fact, it often makes them harder. The stress builds, the workload piles up, and the guilt of not starting just adds to the anxiety. Stoicism, however, provides a refreshing perspective on how to tackle procrastination head-on. The Stoics were big on using rationality to master emotions and actions. They taught that our actions should reflect our rational decisions, not our fleeting feelings or moods. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, do every act of your life as if it were the last act of your life. This mindset places an emphasis on the importance of the present moment, urging us to act now rather than later. So how can you break the cycle of procrastination with the help of Stoicism? First, understand why you procrastinate. Is it fear of failure? Is it perfectionism? Or maybe it's because the task feels too big and overwhelming. Identifying the root cause is the first step in overcoming it. Once you know why you're procrastinating, you can address that specific issue more effectively. Next, use a Stoic method called the dichotomy of control, which is all about focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. In the case of procrastination, focus on your ability to start the task rather than the potential outcomes. Break down the task into smaller, more manageable steps. Instead of thinking, I need to complete this project, think, I need to work on this for 30 minutes. By making it less daunting, you're more likely to begin, and a small start often leads to significant progress. Another Stoic strategy is to reflect on the negative consequences of not completing the task. Consider how procrastination might affect your goals, your stress levels, and even your self-esteem. This isn't meant to scare you into action, but to bring a realistic perspective on what delaying action could cost you. Also, engage in what the Stoics call premeditatio malorum, which means the premeditation of evils. Visualize what could go wrong if you continue to procrastinate. This visualization can motivate you to take action to avoid those outcomes. It's about using foresight to spur yourself into taking those first crucial steps. Lastly, practice gratitude for your ability to act now. Feel thankful for the opportunity to work on your tasks and use this gratitude to propel you into action. Remember, not everyone has the capabilities or resources to do what you can do right now. As we wrap up our journey today, remember that every moment you choose action over hesitation, you honor the best parts of yourself. Thank you for walking this path with us at Live Virtue Stoic. Don't forget to check out one of the suggested videos on your screen to continue building a life of purpose and resilience. Your engagement and growth inspire us every day, and we're grateful to have you in our community. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and embrace the Stoic way.